Hi everyone, my name is Aaron and welcome back to my channel. A few months ago, I was a guest on Leah Remini's podcast, and I want to share with you today a few very short but very important excerpts from that podcast. I figured this would be some really appropriate content to upload today because this week, in just 2 days, on Thursday, February 3rd, I will be hosting a live virtual event with Leah Remini and Mike Rinder over Zoom, and I invite all of you in the United States to join us. This event is a fundraiser for my Clearwater City Council campaign. In just 6 weeks from today, on March 15th, Clearwater voters will either vote for the candidate who helps people escape from Scientology and who is working hard to get Scientology prosecuted and its tax-exempt status revoked, or voters will vote for the candidate, the lady who has worked hand in hand with Scientology in downtown Clearwater for the past 9 years, including working with Sea Org members who work directly for David Miscavige. Clearwater is either about to take a big step forward in fighting back against Scientology's takeover of our city, or it is about to take a huge step backwards. Which is why I'm doing everything I can to meet as many voters as possible. I have personally knocked on over 2,700 doors of likely voters so far, and I have 1,300 more doors to go to meet the target that I've set for myself. It is impossible for my opponent to outwork me, but she just might outraise me, which is why we are working hard to make sure that doesn't happen either. The money we raise is to pay for direct mailers. The two most effective ways to reach voters is number one, knocking on doors, and number two, direct mailers. It doesn't take any money to knock on doors, which is why I am personally out doing that almost every waking hour of every day. But it takes a lot of money to do mailers. The more money we raise, the more mailers we do, the more voters we reach. That's how it works. So that brings us back to the live event I'm hosting this week on Thursday with Leah Remini and Mike Rinder. The price for tickets to join the event is $100, which is steep, but since Leah has been generous enough to do this for me, we have to make the most of it. So anyone in the United States can join us, or US citizens living abroad can also join, and I hope you will join us on Thursday. I'll post a link in the description for where you can get your tickets, and I look forward to seeing you on Thursday at 6 p.m. Eastern. Okay, so the podcast excerpts. I'm going to play for you 4 short clips of the podcast that I did with Leah. By the way, Leah just launched her first official YouTube channel where she announced this week she'll be posting episodes of her podcast. This is what her channel looks like, and I'll post a link to it down below as well. The first clip I want to play for you, this clip is only 80 seconds long. This is Mike Rinder explaining why everyone around the world should have an interest in what is happening with Scientology in Clearwater. Here's Mike.
People who are listening to this that don't live in Clearwater may wonder, well, so what? Why do we care about anybody being elected to the City Council of Clearwater? And there is a very good reason. Clearwater is a microcosm of Scientology in the world because Scientology's presence in Clearwater compared to the overall size of the city and the population is larger than anywhere else in the world.
Yeah, and that's partly because Scientology, we've done a show on this, Mike, but and you guys should see that special as well, because we show in that Scientology's purpose was to have the first all Scientology city, which is a pilot for how Scientology plans on conducting itself to take over another city and another city and another city. A
city near you, and that is why you should be thinking about the importance of what goes on in Clearwater. You can see what they are doing and how they plan to go about doing it everywhere else, where it may not be so obvious. But believe me, what happens in Clearwater is they want to have happen everywhere in the world. So it's important.
Okay, this next clip I'm going to play for you is 3 minutes long. This is Mike Rinder explaining what Scientology, as well as the local Clearwater political establishment, is going to do to try and torpedo my campaign. And this was 3 months ago we recorded this, and how correct Mike was. This is exactly what Scientology and the Clearwater political establishment has done to try to keep me from winning. Get a load of this.
Mike, this might have been the answer. If you were in OSA right now Is this a campaign that you would go after Aaron, knowing that Aaron was running for city council?
Oh, no, there's much more.
What would
There's
you do?
much more that would happen. Well, first of all, like, there was a political consultant in Clearwater named Mary Repper, who Tom DeVocht and I originally hired to help us with political campaigns, and she was buddies with the state attorney and blah, blah, blah. I don't know if she's retired. Whoever it is today that is the go-to person for political campaigns in Clearwater, that has connections to all of the establishment people, all of the old-time guys that don't want the status quo disrupted for whatever reason, I would go and hire that person and get them busy on organizing a campaign against Aaron politically. Then I would have a whole bunch of PIs. There would be PIs crawling all over everything. Osa would be pulling out his old files, everything, everywhere he goes, start harassing the people who are connected with him, his friends, anybody who is assisting on his campaign, like start the "it's dangerous to be around Aaron Smith-Levin" campaign.
Gotcha.
And then start with the rumors. Oh, Aaron Smith-Levin is a drug addict. Aaron Smith-Levin is a drunk. Aaron Smith-Levin's a child abuser. Aaron Smith-Levin's a dog abuser. Whatever. Start spreading those sort of...
Start spreading the news.
Start spreading the news.
I'm leaving today.
And Leah, let me tell you something.
Tell me.
I welcome every second of it.
And I love that about you, Aaron. But the problem with it is, it's not necessarily that anybody will believe it. It's that they just say, look, we don't want to fuck with it. You know what I mean? Like, nobody wants Scientology picketers outside their office saying religious bigotry has no place in America, right? Aaron, they might not believe it, but they don't want to be involved with it. That's their power. If you ask truly what it is, that's why when Valerie left Scientology, I said, listen, if you want to live a life, I don't give a fuck who shows up, Valerie. I don't care if you spend your time watching porn. I don't care if you have dildos. I don't care if you confess to masturbate. I don't care. I will not fire you. Why are you laughing, you two?
Just funny examples to...
Oh, it always goes to sex, by the way. Oh, with me, it always goes to sex. But all right, okay, all right, because that's what they use against you. That's why I'm saying it, because that is predominantly what Scientology uses.
You're exact. That's why I was laughing, Leah.
Yeah.
Because in the real world, nobody gives a about that.
That's the power, Aaron.
You're exactly right, Leah. You're exactly right.
All right, and this third clip is less than a minute long. Here are Mike's thoughts on why all of Scientology's fear-mongering and efforts to drag my name through the mud are unlikely to work in an election.
But let me just say one thing, maybe the last thing.
Go.
The beauty of all of this is elections are secret ballots.
Right.
Nobody has to say who they are voting for. As Aaron said earlier, the harder Scientology tries to stop someone from being elected, and the worse things they say about that person, the more support there will be in the community. There will be people who would not otherwise vote, who will get up off their butts and go vote next March just to make that point.
All right, the last clip I'm going to play for you is 2.5 minutes long. This clip is about why Clearwater's leadership need to be the loudest voices in demanding that something be done about Scientology, in demanding, insisting, begging that a grand jury be called into human trafficking at the Flagland base, demanding that our representatives in Congress put pressure on the IRS to actually do something. Clearwater leadership on its own is not able to bring about all of the change that is needed, but they need to be the loudest voices in demanding the assistance needed from on high. Take a listen.
And why do you think that no one has done anything about it thus far?
When you get up to the state level, there's so many things on your plate that if someone's not actually asking or demanding you to help with this Scientology problem, it's not on your radar. And, Mike can attest to this because he and I have met with a number of, local leaders, people who privately talk a really strong game on Scientology and who privately are very excited at the prospect of meeting you at some time in the future, Leah. But then at the end of the conversation...
they can kiss my ass. When they do something for us and the victims of Scientology, that's when I'll have a bullshit lunch with them. But yes, exactly right, Aaron. You're so right. It's like they'll sit with you. Big fans, Mike. Big fan of Leah's. Big fan. Saw your show, Aaron. God, that broke my heart. Yeah, man, that's f***ed up, but I can't do shit about it. But do me a favor, will you take a picture of my daughter?
But then at the end of the meeting, one particular person said, this was a person holding elected office here in Clearwater, said, at the end of the day, I'm going to do what's best for me, my family, and my business. And my response to that is, if that's how you feel, get the hell out of elected office and make way for people interested in doing something.
Right. Yes.
If Clearwater, Florida's not demanding help, it's totally ridiculous to expect someone higher up the food chain is just going to offer it. We have to be leading the charge. And that's why I'm running.
Yes. Well, Aaron, I think it's great. We support you wholeheartedly. Anything we could do to help, this is one of those things. So what can people do? Is there a website or something that we could... And by the way, you said something very interesting. You said in one of your tweets, you said, it might be suspicious. I'll let you could say it. You were talking about getting support from out-of-state people, but go ahead and tell people what you posted.
Well, yeah. The tweet was, for a city council race, getting a massive amount of funding from outside of the city can be a red flag.
Yeah.
But in my case, it's just a sign that the entire country wants to see Scientology get its ass kicked.
Right.
And anyone in the country who wants to support the campaign can just go to aaronforclearwater.com.
Okay, good.
Okay, so there you have it. I will put a specific link down below for the event with Leah. If you cannot make the event, anyone can still support the campaign at aaronforclearwater.com. That's all I've got for now. A big thank you to all of you who watch my videos until the very end, and I will talk to you guys soon. Bye.
Okay, if you want to see my rock and roll songs, click right on this guitar. And if you want to see a different one of my videos, then you could click right inside here. If you have subscribed or not, subscribe right here. Bye.